Today on In the Woodyard, I have a bundler. We're gonna use it. Here we go. There it is. Isn't it a thing of beauty? So a couple weeks ago, Tony and I were at the logging show that was in Green Bay for loggers. It's called the Midwest Logging Expo. And we were talking to all the vendors, and we were talking to Josh and Jeff from Force. And they had bundlers sitting there, and so we looked at them and we started talking, and I told them that I was thinking about starting to do some bundling, especially with my kindling that I have here. And we're talking about how I could come to their factory and maybe do some videos of their bundler and maybe some of their processors. And he said, well, we got two bundlers sitting right here. We don't need both of them. He said, why don't you take one and start doing some videos? So they gave me this bundler, which is like a $2,500 bundler to do a bunch of videos of, and that's what I'm going to do. It is really nice. I set it up the other day and just gave it a little trial run just to kind of test it out. Very, 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 very nice. I really like it. And you've probably seen on my channel before, when Tony was here with his bundler, he's got the Amish made bundler, which is, it's under $1,000, but it's a manual one. It works okay. Not built real solid compared to this. This is a tank. And I talked to a guy who buys a lot of wood from me that does a lot of bundling, and he said this is the one he wanted, but he couldn't get one because he needed it right away, so he bought another brand. I think he bought one that's Eager Beaver or something like that. I think that's made by Multi-Tech, if I remember correctly, and right up the road from where Force is. Now Force is in Dorchester, Wisconsin, which is about an hour and a half away from here. Yes, they make the bundlers. They also make all kinds of other things, and one of the biggest part of the business is wood processors. So I was talking to Josh, the owner, and Jeff, the salesperson. They both said, hey, you should come and do some videos. And we got to talking, and they said, well, you know, you could take one of our processors sometime and do a bunch of videos. So that might actually happen. I might actually go there, do some videos at their factory, check out their products, and then maybe take one of their processors up to my brother Ken's. And the reason I would do that is obviously the Easton May that I have, I can't tow it. It's 17,000 pounds, and it's really not something you want to move around a whole lot. But Force does make some smaller units that might be, you know, appropriate for some of you guys that are towable with just a regular half-ton pickup truck. I think they've got one that's a smaller model that only weighs 4,500 pounds, something like that. And I think they got another one that's like 5,500, and then another one that's like 68. So they've got 3 different levels of single axle smaller units that we'll do some videos on. If you want to go check out their channel, you can do that. Now, some of you might be saying, well, if you're an Easton made guy, why are you talking about Force? Well, I also am a Husqvarna guy, but I also talk about Steel and Echo. I am not, as Tony would say, I'm non-denominational when it comes to equipment. I like it all. I want to try it all. I want to show you guys the good things, the bad things, and the ugly things about whatever I find. And this channel is not about, I don't want to sell myself out to just one thing and have it be the only thing. I want everything that I can do to basically bring you guys information and show you products for the wood industry, firewood industry in general. So that doesn't matter what it is. I mean, everything that I can think of that I can do videos on that will be interesting to you guys is what I want to do. And to me, this was interesting. And I want to start doing some bundling. So I don't want any big fights over, you know, this or that or whatever brand. I'm not a brand loyal guy. I mean, I really like Husqvarna stuff just because that's kind of what I started with and it's what I've used. There are certain things I lean towards, but I really like the Stihl stuff too. They make great chainsaws. And the Easton Made makes fantastic wood processors. They are more professional, higher grade, big industrial type processors. And then there's some other companies that make some smaller stuff. And I've looked at a lot of it, and I've done some videos on some of the other processors, and I think they're fine too. Just depends on what your needs and wants are. And I'll point out the good things about each of them and the bad things. So enough said about that. So we're going to talk about this Force here. So this is, obviously it's got an electric motor on it. It's got a foot pedal, so you can use your foot to operate it. I got it hooked up. You can see her there. She is just a fly-in. I think it's a 3rd horsepower or maybe a 1/4 horsepower engine. I don't know. Let me look and see what it says. It says 1/4 horsepower. There it is. It's a quarter of a horsepower. So it's got the counterweight on the back here so it can swing. It came with this roll, and I just yesterday received 2 cases of wrap. And I did get the wrap from the same place that Tony gets his at, that I think Ohio Joe recommends. And so I got 2 cases. It was like 120 bucks, something like that. And I did find another place that you can get it even cheaper, but I don't know about the reliability of it yet. So this tray right here is adjustable. You just loosen up the set screw, and this goes in and out so you can adjust it for you where you want it to be. And so yeah, it's on wheels so you can move it around. The coolest thing, I think, is the elk fighting. Isn't that cool? Look at that. That is just neat. That is awesome. Now that I'm an elk hunter. So there is my kindling. I did a few bundles the other day. Now some of these bundles, there was about 20 that Tony and I did with his bundler. But then I did about 5 yesterday or the day before. I can't remember. I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before. I did a few just to test it out, and it works really slick. So today's the day. I've got about, I don't know, 3-4 hours of the day left here that I can work, and I'm gonna see if I can get this whole pile done and see how many bundles of kindling I can get. Now, my idea with the kindling is that what I'm going to do is when I have someone that places a really good order, someone that orders like, you know, a full cord or 4 face cords or a couple loads full, I'll give them a bundle or 2 just to get them hooked on it, kind of like a drug dealer, give them a little bit. And then I am going to start selling it. And I think I'm going to go $6 a bundle or 4 for $20, which I think is very reasonable. And these are pretty good sized bundles. These are probably 1 cubic foot, I would say. They're pretty good sized bundles, which is fine. And one of the things that I was talking to a couple other people about with the bundles of kindling is that everywhere you go there's firewood bundled, but you really don't see much for kindling, and you kind of got to have kindling. My brother Ken sells a lot of his cedar that he has for kindling. A lot of guys will buy it because they are using it in their wood stoves as a fire starter. Not so much, they're not buying it to burn the cedar to heat their house with, because that's like burning tissue paper. But it is great kindling, fantastic kindling. Woods like cedar, willow, aspen, poplar. What else would be really good? Box elder, white pine, red pine, jack pine. Any of the pines are great for kindling. And I produce enough kindling just from my waste that I think I'm throwing money away if I don't keep this stuff here. So I'm gonna start bundling it, and if I can produce, you know, a couple hundred bundles to sell, I think I can do that. So that's the plan. So let's get bundling. So before I start bundling, I just thought I'd mention to you and show you some sweet swag that they gave me. They gave me this nice hat. I guess I'm the second guy to ever get one of these. This is a nice hat from Brute Force. And then I got this shirt. It's got all their information on the back, name of the company, phone number, all that kind of stuff. So there's their logo. So if you want to check out their website, they got a website. They also have a bunch of videos on YouTube. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this, is they want more videos and more products. So I'm going to start doing that. I'll be working with Jeff, I guess, a little bit from Brute Force. I had a little pile here started. So, whoo! I guess that's what happens when you step on the pedal and you're not ready. So I'm just going to stick this in here. And my whole idea for the bundling is basically just stick a whole bunch of stuff in. Put the bigger stuff to the outside, get it in tight, and I'm not going to be real particular with sizes. I basically would like to keep it, you know, close to 1 cubic foot, so I make bigger ones. Now they got some notches here for different levels, so you can kind of line that up, but I'm just going to make them fairly big. I don't know, one more, I guess, a couple more anyway. There we go. There. Now I can start doing some wrapping. There we go, look at that. And I got a handy dandy knife right here. Look at that. There's a bundle. So there it is, nice and tight. Yeah, it's pretty good sized bundle. I'd say it's at least 1 cubic foot, if not more, but that's what I want to do, that size. I don't want to do little bitty ones. I want it to be substantial. So I'll put this over here in the pile and we'll do some more. So yeah, it works really slick. Let's do another one, just because I can. See, I got a bunch of birch here, and there's a bunch of ash I see right here. And I guess there's some chunks of cherry I can see. So yeah, I'm gonna start saving all of my scraps, even the stuff that's undersized. You know, if I get smaller pieces that are less than 16 inches, you know, all the way to 12 inches even, I guess I would say, because I can stick it in the middle and it'll be just fine. Stuff like this, you know, I'm gonna stick this stuff in there too, just put it in the middle, because for kindling it doesn't really matter. So even stuff like this size, little bitty ones, I'll just stick them in the middle and we'll have kindling. That's kind of the plan. A couple more biggies. Put one over here on this side and maybe one more on the other side. There we go, that looks pretty good. There we go, look at that. Slicker and greased all dung, I tell you. There it is. So I was just thinking while I was starting to pick up these pieces to put in here, I think what I'm going to end up doing is, instead of just dumping all of my kindling in a pile like I've got over here, as I get wheelbarrows full or tractor buckets full, I think what I'm going to do is bundle it right away. That way it's just done. And I won't have to have piles sitting around. So if I get a pile of scraps, you know, from processing a whole bunch, then I'll bundle it right away and it'll just be done. So I always have bundles ready to go, so it's not sitting around, because it'll dry just fine even if it's bundled, even if it's not totally dry wood. This is going to be some awesome kindling. It's this birch, because it's got the fire starter built right in already there with the bark. So that's going to be pretty dang sweet kindling. So, and then I think the other thing I might do is, if this ends up being a really big deal to where I'm selling lots of it, I might just take a whole bunch of my white pine that I have and I might actually make kindling out of it. You know what I mean? I might actually go and cut it down smaller. There's another one. I think I want to end up having it stop right about there. So I'll get the hang of this eventually. I'm sure there's a system that some guys know about that I don't, that they're going to be yelling at me. You should be doing it this way, you should be doing it that way. Well, we'll figure it out. So, now the other thing that I really like about this is one of the only tools I use in my wood yard now that I don't have to wear earmuffs for. My tractor is loud, got to wear earmuffs and plugs for that. My splitter I have to wear earplugs or muffs or both for that. My chainsaws definitely need to use ear protection, and the processor I got to use ear protection. I'm gonna be able to turn the radio on and jam to some tunes while I'm doing this. This will be kind of nice. Nice not having to have my ears covered up. Is it a work of art yet? I don't think so. I don't think so. There we go. That's going to be a real eye-appealing thing to have people see that birch there, because everybody knows that birch is great kindling, and that's what this whole section right here that I've got, there's a bunch of birch. There's another one. Look at that. All right, it's repping time again. This is the only thing that seems to take time, is getting your rep started. And I think 3 or 4 is what most people do. I'm gonna go with about 4-ish, 3-ish, something like that. We'll be good. There it is, another beautiful bundle. All right, we're gonna speed this up now. We're gonna pump out some bundles. empty. The bundler worked fantastic. I have a wall of kindling bundles here. All of you are going to ask, how long did it take? How many bundles did you make? I don't know. I didn't even look at my watch when I started, and I didn't count the bundles, but I know there's got to be over 100. There's got to be. But there they are. So, well, the question I have to all of you, how much should I charge for them? I'm thinking because the bigger bundles, I could probably go $8-10 bucks. I mean, they're pretty good size. They're pretty heavy. I basically filled the tray about as full as I could get it each time, so pretty much right up to the top. And I'm thinking that's probably a cubic foot, probably right to here, maybe a little more. So they're good size bundles. My first thought was to charge $6 a piece and do 4 for 20. But maybe I'll do $6 or $7 a piece and do like 2 for 10. I don't know. What do you guys think? There it is. It's a bunch of kindling, that is for sure. So now I got to get some tarps out and get this all covered because we're supposed to get some rain tonight. And when I get the bundler kind of tucked back around the corner here and get that covered up and get all the bundles covered up. And then I got to go do a delivery of some wood. So I'm going to get everything covered up and then we're going to go do a delivery. There it is, covered up, and should be good to keep it dry for the most part. I got this side here is a little open, but the water will drain off of that. If it gets a little bit of water on the edge, it's not the end of the world. I just don't really want the wood to get wet on the inside of the bundles where the shrink wrap is not going to let it breathe at all. But that was good to get that done because that wood has been sitting there. Some of it's over a year old, some of it's 6 months old, some of it's a couple months old, but that kindling dries so fast that I'm sure it's all going to be great wood for kindling. So the next thing I got to do is I have a delivery to do in about 15 minutes. I got to leave for, and then when I get back from that, I've got to load up a full cord of oak for delivery for tomorrow. So I got to get busy again. Down the road we go. I'm back in the wood yard, and my next project is I need to load up a full cord of oak into the trailer for delivery for tomorrow. I want to get it done now because it's supposed to rain tonight and tomorrow morning, and that way I can get it loaded and get it covered up, and hopefully by the time I deliver it, it'll be done raining and it'll still be dry. So that is the plan. So here we go, woodchucking time. Right there is where it was. There was 2 face cords, 2/3 of a cord there on the racks, and then right here was another face cord. So I threw it all in, and that is a full cord, which is about what fills the trailer generally. When I'm throwing it in loose, pretty much level, and it's a full cord. Now I found something kind of interesting when I flipped up one of the pallets. Right here is a woodchuck nest. He's got this all hollowed out, and he's got a bunch of grass chewed up. This bag was over the top of it. So he was right in there. That was one of his little hideouts that he had, because I noticed there was a little trail coming right in here from the side and into there. So obviously one of his little hideouts are gone. It's got to go somewhere else now. So I got that loaded up. I'm going to cover it up with a tarp because, like I said, it's going to rain. And then tomorrow I can get this delivered, and hopefully it'll still be dry. So that's what's going to happen. That's it for today, folks. You're poking the buttons right now. Tomorrow I'll be back 5:30 a.m. with a new video for you. Or you can go to my channel, watch that video or that video, whichever one is on the screen. That's a good one to watch. And there's 800 others waiting for you right now. Good night, Irene.